Hey, you guys, it's Stacy here. I actually just got back from ballet. I have my leotard still on. It's a new leotard. It's actually, there's like a mesh over like a cranberry color. So I got it on. That's why it looks so fancy. Um, but I'm not here to talk about my leotard really. Um, I'm here to talk about the title of what you've seen. The reason why I went to ballet today is because whenever I have a day where I feel overwhelmed or stressed or I just need to decompress, ballet is one of the things that I use to help with that. Of course, I pray and I seek God and stuff like that. But sometimes you need hobbies and you need different things to help you. And ballet was one of those where I was like, today I have to go. Even though I have a lot of stuff to do, I gotta get my butt in ballet class. And so I went. And I'm glad I did. Um, but with that, I was hesitant to do this video because I never want to come across as someone that's complaining. I never want to come across as, negative or anything like that. But I realized that other people may be struggling with the same types of things. And I don't want you to feel like you're alone. So I'm here to just talk about my own personal experience and why I made my decision to no longer teach for the most part. So today I was asked to be a guest speaker at a middle school. And as you guys know, I'm a dietitian, so I talked about nutrition. Granted, I understand not everyone is interested in nutrition, especially if you're a teenager. You probably don't care, and that's fine. But I was a guest speaker. I came and I volunteered my time. I was there all day without pay. So common courtesy when somebody comes and they're a guest, you should be, respectful to them, and nice. It's like what you would expect, right? That's what we do. But with certain middle school and high schoolers, they care more about being cool than being respectful. And so I was reminded today why I'm no longer a teacher. One of the reasons why I'm not a teacher. And it actually is a really big reason. So, like I said, I came to do a speaking engagement. And there were students that were really interested, that were engaged, that were asking questions, that were really into the topic. But then there were students that decided it was more important to be cool. And they would say rude comments or purposely ask rude questions on purpose. And I get it. They're teens, they're preteens, they're trying to be cool. But it reminded me of how I felt when I was a high school teacher. So and granted, I will say this. I love teenagers. Okay? Don't get me wrong when I'm talking about this video. I love teenagers. I started off working in youth ministry, helping teenagers. Still today, I love working with the teenagers. That's like my favorite age group to work with in terms of ministry. So I don't want you to think that I don't love teenagers. I definitely do. It is different when you're in a classroom setting versus when you are doing ministry. It's very, very different. The way that the teenager acts towards you, they behave, how much they are receptive to you is completely different in the classroom setting. So when I was a teacher, I taught high school science for 3 years at an at-risk school. And, we did have some behavioral issues. I always thought it was just because it was an at-risk school. We had students that, not all of them came from a good background, a good home. There were some people, where gangs were around. They might have been exposed to drugs, violence, stuff like that. And so I thought that was one of the main reasons why those students were acting that way. And so I tried to be respectful of that, and I tried not to take it so personally. Today, I was at a middle school, and the area where it was at, all of the kids came from well off homes. When I say well off, all the houses in that neighborhood were mansions. They were huge houses. Um, and so, not that they're not dealing with things, they probably are. There are probably some that still deal with some of the same types of things. But you would think that if you're in an environment like that, where it would be like night and day with some of it. But it wasn't. It is about the same in terms of behavior. And so today I was reminded of some of those behaviors. And it bothered me. So I remember as a teacher thinking about some of my students that they were literally just evil. Now, I know not everyone was saved. I know not everyone was a Christian, but I literally thought, like, even if you weren't a Christian, like, to just decide to be a certain way and say certain things and act certain ways, like, to make those decisions, like, you really have to be that evil to do those things. And that's what I experienced again today. There were some students that literally just decided that they wanted to be super evil. And I know we're all, in a fallen state until we accept Christ. And I know that that's the case for some of these students. But as an educator, today I was a speaker, but I was kind of in that teacher setting. You get that abuse put on you when a student purposely states certain things to you with the sole purpose of hurting your feelings or the sole purpose of just being mean, right? Like, I think the idea of, well, because they're a student, it shouldn't hurt your feelings, it shouldn't bother you, it shouldn't, like, affect you. It does. Abuse is abuse, whether it comes from a kid, a teenager, or an adult. Abuse is still abuse. And I was reminded of that today. I was a guest speaker. They're not paying me to be there. I volunteered literally my whole entire day to teach these teenagers things that I literally charge people hundreds of dollars for, and I'm giving it to them for free. And there are some teenagers in the audience that decided that it was more important for them to be cool. And to be cool meant being rude and saying mean comments than to show respect. And I get it. Like, they're still teenagers. I get it. I definitely get it. I will say that some of it does start in the home. And there's a lot of parents that aren't disciplining their children. I had the fear of God. Like, literally, I was afraid that my dad, like, would be mad at me. My mom would be mad at me. So when I was in school, I was obedient. I did what I needed to do. But these kids, they don't fear their parents. It's very apparent that they don't. Because if they did, they wouldn't behave the way they do, which tells me that the parents aren't disciplining their children the way they should, to allow their kids to go crazy like the way they do. And it's not the job of the teacher to be that disciplinarian in their life. You see that kid 1 year, the parents see them for, all their life. And it's not fair to put all that pressure on the teacher and to try to get the teacher to fix their child. That is not fair at all. That starts when they're young. And so, granted, I loved teaching. I really did love teaching. It was just, some of the students were just straight evil. Literally. There's no other way to say it, but they were pure evil. They decided to go and follow the way of the devil, like literally. And I know that sounds bad, but it's literally the choice that they made. And I remember when I was a teacher, some of the parents, like, they literally had their kids back. Like, they didn't care that their kids misbehaved. Like, they would jump on, the teacher and be like, no, you're wrong. And some of the administration also did that. If they knew the student well, they might have questioned the teacher. And so that's just a few of the reasons why I'm no longer a teacher. I was reminded today, I had thought about, because I'm almost done with my program, I had thought about going back into education. I seriously was like, oh, I could teach home ec. I can, be a culinary teacher or do dual enrollment type thing. But after today, I don't want to do it. And it's not because I don't love teaching. I love teaching. I teach at the college age. College age, you don't deal with those discipline problems because you pay for the classes, which is part of the reason why I don't want college to become free. Because if it's free, just like how, we have free public school, I'm afraid that it's going to get to that point. Like, I don't want everyone just to come to college. Like, it literally needs to be the people that deserve to be there. And in the college age, you can fail kids. When I was a teacher, we weren't really allowed to fail kids. I tried to fail some kids, and the administration contacted me, and they're like, hey, you need to work with this kid. We can't have them fail. You need to get with them and help them get their grade up. But at college age, I failed students every single semester because it's literally based off of their performance, right? I'm not just pushing them through the system. And so, yeah, definitely college age is probably for me if I'm going to teach, as opposed to ministry wise. I still love the youth age. I definitely love the youth age, but there's just something about it. And I will say too, there's a difference. I think there's a difference in terms of how you look. So I look young. I have this face of like, I know I look innocent. I look very soft and like a pushover. I know that that's what I look like. And so people do treat me a certain way because of how I look. My husband is a teacher. He's a high school teacher. He's a big guy. He looks tough. I've seen him teach. Like, he's kind of scary looking. I even seen kids like literally look afraid in high school at him. So there's definitely a difference in terms of your appearance and how the students would treat you. And I think it's a huge misfortune because I know I'm a good teacher. I've heard people say it over and over again. And, I did enjoy it besides those few things. So I wanted to get on here because I know I'm not the only one that dealt with that dealt with kids literally being just straight evil and saying evil things and having to deal with kids that aren't being disciplined at home. And then you are left to be literally abused by those students. I know how that feels. Okay. If you are a parent and you have kids that are not well behaved, that's on you. Like, you literally need to get on your grind and you need to work on that discipline. And I think part of the reason why it's like that is because people stop spanking their kids. Spare the rod and spoil the child. You definitely are setting your kids up for failure, in my opinion. And people can say, oh, it's child abuse or whatnot. I had spankings growing up and I came out pretty well, if you ask me. So yeah. Okay. So I just want to encourage you, if you're in the same situation, don't feel bad for walking away. You can choose what abuse you take. I did think about walking away, but it was set in stone when I went to the doctor. I actually used to have migraines every single day. Every single day I had migraines. And the doctor told me that I probably should start thinking about another career. If you're getting migraines every day, then maybe that's not meant for you. And so, yeah. It's pretty sad because I, still to this day, I think about all those good moments. And I was so excited going to this middle school today. I was like, oh, this is so nostalgic. But then the same thing happened that happened when I was a high school teacher. And you deal with those students. And I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it again. I don't. It was set in stone today. Like, I thought about it, but today I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'll do college age. Private school maybe, but I'm pretty sure private school probably has the same problems, because today was an area where the kids were rich. So I'm pretty sure they probably would have the same type of problems in a private school. So yeah, don't feel bad if you're a teacher and you're thinking about quitting because the kids aren't behaving. It's the parents' fault. So if there's no teachers, there's a teacher shortage. Guess why there's no teachers? It's because the parents aren't doing their job. And it's unfortunate for those who are teachers, because now they have to do extra work. It is unfortunate. I mean, my husband's a teacher, so I get it. I know he has classes that might be up to 40 students in a class, which is ridiculous. But it is what it is. So, all right. I know this was a little sad and depressing, but I kind of felt the need to finally say it, because I've been out of the classroom for a long time now. And so I think it's been long enough where I could finally come out and speak about it a little bit more. This is just part of the reason. It's one of the main reasons, because I had migraines every day because of it. I also had issues with some of the other teachers that did not respect me because I look young. I also had issues, like what I said earlier, some administration didn't do their job in terms of having my back. Like, if I send students to the AP's office, sometimes they took the student's word over mine. Literally, that has happened. So, it's those little things that adds up, and it doesn't make the job enjoyable. I've enjoyed being a dietitian. Like, there are days where I'm like, okay, like I had a bunch of clients yesterday, and, a lot of them have like psych issues, where they're dealing with some really like in-depth stuff, but I'd rather deal with that than being abused by teenagers. Like, literally, like, I have a choice and I can protect myself. And so, yeah. Okay. Finally, for real, saying goodbye. If you like this video, if you can relate, I understand you might not want to say stuff if you feel uncomfortable. I get it. But at least give me a like so I know that I'm not the only one that dealt with this type of stuff. And, yeah. All right. You guys have a good rest of your week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.